upbeat, slightly dramatic music with visuals of flowing water, vast farmland, and mining operations. Why can a glass of water be more valuable than a barrel of oil? And who really decides if a nation eats or starves? The answers lie not just in markets, but in the battle for control over our planet's most essential assets. Welcome to the Economy Unpacked daily YouTube channel. From Wall Street to your street, we share the world of money in a clear way. Today, we're diving into resource economics, the field that explains how we manage our world's finite treasures: water, land, and minerals. This isn't just an abstract theory. It's about power, survival, and the future of our global economy. Resource economics studies how societies allocate these scarce natural resources. It's a delicate balancing act, constantly weighing supply, demand, and the long-term sustainability of our planet. But it's crucial to understand that these resources are far more than simple commodities to be bought and sold. They are the foundations of political power, the bedrock of social stability, and, increasingly, the fault lines of global security. Think about it. Control over vital resources like water, fertile land, or critical minerals often determines which nations thrive and which ones struggle to survive. The story of modern geopolitics is, in many ways, the story of who controls these assets. In an era defined by the escalating challenges of climate change, a rapidly growing global population, and a monumental transition away from fossil fuels, the principles of resource economics are moving from academic textbooks to the center stage of global decision-making. The choices we make about our resources today will echo for generations, shaping the world our children and grandchildren will inherit. Let's start with the most fundamental resource of all: water. It is the lifeblood of our civilization, underpinning everything from agriculture and urban life to industrial manufacturing. Water is the foundation of our food production, the source of safe drinking water for our cities, and an essential component in countless industrial operations. Simply put, without a reliable and accessible supply of water, modern economies would grind to a halt. Yet, this essential resource is becoming dangerously scarce. Today, over 2 billion people live in regions experiencing high water stress, a number that is projected to grow. This scarcity isn't just a humanitarian issue, it's a major source of geopolitical tension. We see this playing out in real time across the globe. Disputes are escalating over shared river basins like the Nile, where Egypt, Sudan, and Ethiopia vie for control. The Mekong, which is a lifeline for several Southeast Asian nations, and the Indus, a point of contention between India and Pakistan. In each of these regions, the flow of water is a matter of national security. This scarcity forces us to confront difficult economic questions about water rights and pricing. How should we value something so essential? Some countries and communities treat water as a public good, a fundamental human right that should be accessible to all, regardless of their ability to pay. Others are moving toward privatization and market-based solutions, arguing that pricing water appropriately is the most effective way to encourage conservation and efficient use. This approach, however, raises profound ethical dilemmas. If water becomes a market commodity, what happens to those who cannot afford it? The debate over whether access to clean water is a basic human right or a tradable good is one of the most critical economic and moral questions of our time. Next, let's turn our attention to the ground beneath our feet: land. Land, particularly farmland, is the cornerstone of food security. It is the primary resource for feeding a global population, that is projected to reach nearly 10 billion people by 2050. As global demand for food, feed, and biofuels continues to rise, the pressure on the world's limited supply of arable land is intensifying dramatically. Every hectare becomes more valuable, and the competition for its use grows fiercer. This competition often manifests as a direct conflict between urban expansion and environmental conservation. As cities grow, they sprawl outwards, frequently consuming the fertile farmland that surrounds them. This creates a fundamental tension between the need for economic development and housing, and the long-term imperative of preserving our agricultural capacity and natural ecosystems. Every new housing development built on what was once a farm represents a trade-off, one that pits immediate urban needs against future food security. This intense competition has also given rise to a more controversial phenomenon: land grabs. In recent years, wealthy nations and large multinational corporations have been buying or leasing vast tracts of farmland in other countries, particularly in Africa and South America. These investors are seeking to secure their own food and energy supplies, but their actions raise serious ethical and political questions. Who truly owns this land? Do the benefits of these foreign investments flow to the local communities, or are they siphoned off, leaving local populations displaced and disenfranchised? The question of land ownership is becoming a central issue in the 21st century global economy. Now, let's explore the minerals powering our future. The global transition to a green economy depends on a specific set of resources: rare earth elements, lithium, and cobalt. These minerals are not just valuable, they are indispensable. They are the essential components in the batteries for electric vehicles, the magnets in wind turbines, and the storage systems that make renewable energy viable. They are quite literally the backbone of the energy transition. However, the supply chains for these critical minerals are fraught with vulnerabilities and geopolitical risks. For example, China currently dominates the global market for rare earth elements, controlling much of the mining and nearly all of the processing. This gives Beijing immense leverage over the global tech and renewable energy industries. Similarly, a significant portion of the world's cobalt is mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo, a country plagued by political instability and concerns over labor practices. This concentration of supply creates precarious dependencies for countries and companies trying to build a green future, making them vulnerable to supply disruptions and price manipulation. In response to these risks, nations are scrambling to find solutions. One of the most promising avenues is the development of a circular economy. Instead of a linear take-make-dispose model, a circular approach focuses on reusing and recycling. By investing in technologies to recycle old batteries and electronics, we can recover valuable minerals and reduce our reliance on unstable foreign suppliers. Building robust circular economies is no longer just an environmental goal. It is a critical strategy for economic and national security. These struggles over water, land, and minerals have profound economic and social dimensions. Perhaps the most significant is the way they exacerbate inequality. Wealthier nations and powerful corporations often have the financial and political muscle to secure better access to resources, whether through international trade deals, foreign investments, or technological superiority. This often leaves poorer regions, which may be rich in natural resources, but lack the capital to develop them, facing shortages and environmental degradation. This dynamic fuels a cycle of global inequality and can, in some cases, ignite social unrest and violent conflict. Navigating this complex landscape involves balancing the interests of three key groups: governments, corporations, and local communities. Governments play the role of regulator, setting the rules for resource extraction, imposing taxes, and theoretically acting as stewards for the public good. Corporations are the primary actors in extraction and distribution, driven by the need to generate profits for their shareholders. And finally, local communities are the ones who live on the land, drink the water, and bear the immediate environmental and social consequences of resource development. The central challenge of modern resource economics is finding a way to balance the competing interests of these three groups in a fair and sustainable manner. This brings us to the core dilemma at the heart of the debate: growth versus sustainability. Should nations prioritize rapid economic expansion, often fueled by the intensive exploitation of natural resources? Or should they prioritize the long-term preservation of those resources for future generations? The tension between securing short-term profits and ensuring long-term security is a constant battle, and the path a nation chooses has far-reaching implications for its economy, its society, and the global environment. Looking ahead, we face several possible future scenarios. The path we take will depend on our collective choices. Will nations choose cooperation or competition? History shows us examples of both. We see cooperation in successful water treaties and international environmental agreements. We see competition in trade wars, resource hoarding, and escalating disputes over shared assets. The future of global stability may hinge on which of these impulses prevails. Fortunately, innovation offers a path to reduce the pressure on our finite resources. Breakthrough technologies like large-scale water desalination, farming techniques that regenerate soil health, and advanced recycling processes can help us do more with less. The rise of artificial intelligence and big data also presents an opportunity to optimize our use of land and water with unprecedented precision, helping to improve efficiency and reduce waste. Ultimately, however, technology alone is not enough. We need robust policy and effective governance. This means forging global agreements on fair resource pricing, establishing clear standards for responsible mining and extraction, and promoting policies that support sustainable agriculture worldwide. Our systems of resource governance, which were largely designed for a different era, must evolve to meet the challenges of the 21st century if we hope to avoid future crises. In the end, the story of resource economics is a story of choices. The Earth's resources are finite, but our choices in how we manage, use, and distribute them are infinite. These decisions are not just about balance sheets or market prices. They are about justice, equity, and survival. The way we manage our water, land, and minerals today will determine the course of the next century. It will shape global economics, define international politics, and ultimately decide the prospects for peace and prosperity on a crowded planet. The stakes could not be higher.